Alright, hello, my name is Alex Easter, and today I will be presenting the presentation I made about the interview I had with my grandfather, Dane Lanier, who was a Vietnam War veteran. So this is the title slide, reflection of the interview by me, of course, Alex Easter. First question we have is, what topics did you research in order to prepare for the interview? And honestly, in order to prepare for this interview, I researched a good amount about the Vietnam War, such as what life was like before and after the war. The websites I used were history.com and historytoday.com. And as you can see right here are the citations for both of the two websites that I used. The next question we have is, what expectations did you have going into the interview? And honestly, I expected to learn a lot about what the soldiers went through on a day-to-day basis whilst they were in Vietnam, and as well as what they did for the communities over there, over in Vietnam. And then the next question is, what was your overall experience in the interview? And honestly, overall, I had a great experience as I learned quite a lot about how the soldiers functioned, and I was able to gain a deeper appreciation for them and what they accomplished over in Vietnam, as well as what they have continued to do after the fact. I know a lot of it doesn't get as much appreciation as it should. So the next question I have is, how does this person, my grandfather, stories fit into your research? And of course, the person I interviewed was my grandfather, and he entered the draft straight out of high school. And after being drafted into the Air Force, he spent following weeks training up until he was eventually deployed into Vietnam. And whilst he was in Vietnam, he served as a night patrol for his portion of the base. So that kind of goes into like what I researched as what life was like before, as many of these soldiers were straight out of high school. They're fresh 18-year-old kids that just wanted to support their country in any way that they can. The next question I have is, what surprised you about the stories that your interview shared? And one big thing that surprised me is when my grandfather told me, quote, once the fighting ceased at 5 in the morning, the Viet Cong soldiers would climb down from the trees and come work on the base. And I thought to myself that it was that's a very contradictory thing to do, and it seems like a very contradictory thing to do in warfare, as that the enemy would fight you at night and then come and work for you during the day. That really shocked me when he told me that. And another thing that really surprised me was that the fact that many of these Viet Cong soldiers were very young, between the ages of 12 and 14 years old. And I just think to my younger siblings, and I can't imagine them going and giving their life and fighting for. It just amazes me. And one story that I would like to share is when when I was interviewing my grandfather, he told me about the worst night that they had on patrol. Was when a squadron of these young children broke into the border, and they were all carrying knives and grenades, and they had to my grandfather's squadron had to eliminate them essentially. And it really struck a chord with me, and really surprised me about all that went on during this. It was just really surprising. And right here is a picture of me and my grandfather during the interview. Okay, so the next question I have is, what do you think you gained from this experience? And honestly, I think from conducting this interview, I gained a deeper respect for our American soldiers and the trials and tribulations that they experience day to day. I mean, going back to what I said, I just think they are really underappreciated for what they do for us and our country. So the next question I have is, would you recommend future students to do this project? Why or why not? And I do believe that future students should complete this assignment because if they do it correctly, many individuals can gain an immense amount of knowledge and respect from just listening to what these veterans have to say and listening to their experiences and taking their advice. So the next question, that's it. Thank you very much for this assignment. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.